Okay. Hello, everybody. Good morning. Very morning of very Monday. Today is Monday morning. It's for everybody Monday morning, but for us it's a very important day. So, sveiki visi. Hello, everyone. I'm pleased to welcome here ambassadors, foreign guests, members of parliament, representatives of academic world, business, NGOs, civil servants, media here also, and all other guests. A special welcome to Dr. Fatih Birol, an Executive Director of International Energy Agency, and Mr. Žygimantas Vaičiūnas, Minister of Energy. My name is Romas Švedas. I am Associate Professor of Practice at the Institute of International Relations and Political Science of Vilnius University. I will be moderating the event. Ladies and gentlemen, today we will take part in a special event. Launch of the Energy Policy Review of Lithuania, presented by Dr. Fatih Birol, Executive Director of International Energy Agency, and his team. Let me quickly present you our today's program. Our program will be from 3 parts. First will be launch of Energy Policy Review of Lithuania, then followed by a discussion on energy policy, and third, a family photo. Everybody is invited. It will take place just here around the corner on the royal stairs of this library. Everybody is invited. Also, Dr. Fatih Birol and Žygimantas Vaičiūnas will join family photo. Dear Fatih Birol, I give course on energy security at the Institute of International Relations and Political Science, so me and my students, we are very frequent visitors of International Energy Agency website and active users of agency data. So we know the activity of the agency quite well. Though, for the audience, I would take a liberty to remind that International Energy Agency was established a bit more than 50 years ago, in 1974. Agency provides policy recommendations, analysis, and data on the global energy sector. To date, International Energy Agency family includes 32 member countries, 4 accession countries, and 13 association countries, which together account for some 80% of global energy consumption, about 65% of global energy production, and nearly 90% of global clean energy investment. Mr. Birol, the role and importance of International Energy Agency I would describe as follows. It is the light of transparency, the voice of truth, and the word of wisdom. Mr. Birol, such quality and high-level international organization would not be possible without your leadership. Therefore, we are very honored and even excited having you and your team here in Vilnius. Lithuania became member of International Energy Agency 3 years ago. 3 years ago, in 2022. May I draw your attention to a very interesting fact. Exactly 6 years ago, on July 11th, 2019, at that time, first-term Energy Minister of Lithuania, Žygimantas Vaičiūnas, in Paris, met Executive Director Fatih Birol to discuss the accession process of Lithuania to the International Energy Agency 6 years ago. And today, 6 years later, Dr. Fatih Birol and Minister Žygimantas Vaičiūnas are here in Lithuania, in Vilnius. Their Lithuanian accession to the International Energy Agency is completed, and energy policy review will be presented. Ladies and gentlemen, let me announce the start of our today's event, and let me invite Mr. Žygimantas Vaičiūnas, Energy Minister of Lithuania, to welcome address. Please, Minister.
Thanks, Ramas. Dear Executive Director, dear ambassadors, my team from the ministry, dear CEOs of the energy companies, dear guests. It's really a pleasure today to be here, and this is the content of today's discussion. Small book, but very important in appropriate format. Yesterday we have celebrated the State Day, or the coronation of King of Mindaugas, and National Anthem Day. Today, we are continuing the celebration. Today, we are celebrating the International Energy Agency presence here in Lithuania, while energy independence could be called the anthem of our national energy sector. We have been invited to join the IEA in 2021, and thanks, Romas, for reminding the date. It was really emotional for me to discuss with Dr. Fatih the need for Lithuania to be the member of the IEA. I think it's really, for such a country like Lithuania, it's a really important path to move forward on that, and I'm really happy that it was really the fast-track process for Lithuania to become the member of the IEA. And today, we will really have the possibility to go deep into detail. As Romas said, really the agency is the most trustful, the most analytical, the most global perception of the things in the energy field. And having in mind the current global dynamics, it's very important. So it's really, we are really honored and impressed by your presence, Dr. Fatih Birol, here in Lithuania to present this energy policy review. And of course, this is a good signal for all our energy community. And not only, this is also for signal for our society that we are important player, not only in our region, not only within the EU, but also in the global terms. And we are delighted to be the part of this 33 member states club, global energy club, and full spectrum of energy issues: oil, gas, energy efficiency, demand response measures, all the stuff which is really important and which is the most topical today. And of course, it has the real impact for our societies. And energy, as always, has been playing the key role on that. So this is, today we'll of course discuss in more detail the presentation of the report and the key recommendations, which is very important. And I'm delighted and I'm committing together with other government members to take the responsibility for the implementation of these recommendations. Not to look to this from the bureaucratic point of view, but really to implement these recommendations for the full scale and as soon as possible. So just to name a few milestones, I will not go to the detail to review all our energy policy developments. We had a long path, and this is really the story of how from the ugly duck we became the beautiful swan. But I will name several items. 2022, this is the date when we cut all the energy supplies from Russia. Oil, gas, electricity, no more. And this is our message to the EU countries that we survived, and now we are competitive, and now we are stronger. So we have to deliver on that for sure, and this will be a very critical moment within the EU as the European Commission presented the path and the proposals how to cut dependencies on gas supply from Russia. And this year, 2025, of course, it's a nice coincidence. We have the synchronization of the Baltic states' electricity networks through Poland with the continental European networks. This is really a very important element of our fight for energy independence. This is really symbolic, but this is really also very practical. And this is a nice coincidence that today we have, in this year, 2025, we have the first energy policy review presentation here in Vilnius, in this National Library. And the third point, I would like to stick to the development of renewables, the target on which, once we started this journey, it has been out of doubts. It's not so cheap. We have challenges in the network, but we made this effort. And as I'm working within the ministry for some time, I just remembered one historical document. This is from 2010, 2011. And at that time, we were showing what is our target and what is our current status. So in 2010, we produced from our electricity consumption only 8% from renewables. 8, not 80. And now we are producing almost 80%. So sometimes it's good to have the institutional memory. And I think this is the sign of our achievements. Of course, we will have a lot of challenges on our further steps. But that's why today we are here to discuss these challenges and to discuss these recommendations. So energy is not about engineering our system. It's about core values. It's about the ambition, determination, cooperation, creativity, implementation, and last but not the least, success. What's next? The first point, implementation of the IEA recommendations. The second point, I think, and we have discussed this morning together with the Fatih, this is about the need to pay attention for the protection of the critical energy infrastructure. This is the element which is really important. And we are witnessing the facts in Spain, Portugal, Czech Republic. These are the ongoing things. We have to respond to that and to be prepared proactively for our energy systems. So I would like to wish you a fruitful discussion today, nice presentation, and thanks for being here. All the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. And now to present Lithuania's energy policy review, may I invite Dr. Fatih Birol, Executive Director of International Energy Agency, followed by his team, Martin Nunings from Belgium, Head of Unit of Strategic Coordination and External Relations, Ministry of Economy of Belgium, and Oskaras Alšauskas, Energy Modeler and Analyst from International Energy Agency. Mr. Birol, please, floor is yours.
Mr. Minister, ambassadors, members of parliament, dear colleagues, very good morning to all of you. It is a great pleasure and honor to be here in front of you today. It is my very first visit to Vilnius, and I am very happy to come here to share with you, to underline you some of the great achievements of this country has made in the last few years, but also put it in a global and European energy context, and also discuss a bit the next steps to come together with my colleagues. The very occasion is, of course, to share with you our energy policy review. What is this? This is every 5 years, I send a delegation to countries from different experts excelled in their sectors, visit the country, to take an X-ray of that country's energy sector, like a medical checkup. They discuss with the government bodies, energy industry, academia, NGOs, independent experts, come back, analyze those findings, make a report, discuss it with other governments of the International Energy Agency, and make a report. These reports are made without fear and without favor. They are just to the point, I believe. Dear colleagues, our moderator gave such an excellent introductory remarks that I don't have much to say about the IEA. Maybe just two other points. These 32 governments, the members of the IEA, range from the North America, such as US, Canada, Mexico, to all European countries, but also Japan, Korea, Australia, and New Zealand. It's 32 member countries, and I'm very happy that recently, as a result of the great efforts of the Mr. Minister, we have Lithuania as a member. I can tell you that to be a member of the IEA is a very cumbersome process. It is not very easy, I can tell you. There are so many requirements you have to fulfill. There are some organizations, you just send the email, you become a member. But in our case, it is a very cumbersome process. There are technical, legal, many aspects of it. And the process for Lithuania was one of the fastest among our countries, about 2.5 years. And I am very happy that we have Lithuania as a member. Many thanks, Mr. Minister, for your great efforts. Dear colleagues, I am also here to have meetings with the other members of the government. I will soon meet with the Mr. Prime Minister, the Speaker of the Parliament, and yesterday I had the honor to meet the President Nausėda, and I was very much touched and moved that I received, Mr. President, the state honor, the award from the Mr. President. It's a great honor for me, for my agency, and for my colleagues. I will say a few things about the global picture, and afterwards my colleagues, Mr. Martin Nunik, who is from the Belgium government, who was a team leader. Thank you very much, Martin, for your leadership here, and also from the IEA Secretariat, my colleagues, Mr. Oskaras Asoskas, he's working at the IEA. He's one of our rising stars, and he's going to tell you also a bit about the findings of our report. Dear colleagues, let me tell you a few things about the global energy picture. I have been working on energy issues for some time, a few years now, and energy and geopolitics were always interwoven, always. But where we stand now, today, in 2025, I think it is one of the closest link I have ever seen between energy and geopolitics. And I believe it will be with us in different forms years to come. So energy security, therefore, is becoming, in my view, a part of national security. And as such, it is not only a job of the energy experts, it's a job of the defense, it's a job of the foreign ministers, it's a job of the prime ministers and others, energy security. I wish, as an energy person, energy remains as a part of the economy. But now, the recent developments and developments we are in showing us that it will not be like that, and we need to get prepared. Russia's invasion of Ukraine was a major blow on energy security, and we all see the turbulences in Middle East, and I'm afraid more to come in that area as well. And you will see the challenges coming from the critical minerals and supply chains, and the challenges among the countries, competition among the countries might well be the next chapter of the energy security we are going to face. Turning to a bit on Europe. Now, despite the IEA's several times warnings, I believe most of the European policymakers were too relaxed in terms of their over-reliance on one single country in terms of their energy imports, namely Russia. Ladies and gentlemen, just give you a couple of numbers. Just before the invasion, about half of the natural gas imports of Europe came from Russia. About 1/3 of the oil imports came from Russia, and about 50% of the coal imports came from Russia. In the energy business, I think even it is the most friendly and innocent country that you are working with, you don't have such major reliance on one single country. Yet, as IEA has warned several times, the country we are talking about was not definitely, and we have seen, not the most innocent country in the world. And Europe paid the bill of this, in my view, major historical strategic mistake over reliance of its energy imports on one single country, namely Russia. After the invasion, 24th of February, in 1 week of time, International Energy Agency came with a 10-point plan for Europe, how immediate concrete steps European countries can have in order to deal with the no Russian gas, but keeping the lights on and not freezing in winter. Those 10-point plan we made, which is I presented with Mrs. Ursula von der Leyen to all European countries, range from acceleration of renewables by making the permitting and installation much faster, to extending the lifetime of the nuclear power plants that were about to be shut in Germany and in Belgium, to some efficiency measures and identifying non-Russian natural gas import sources. And I am very happy to see that Europe now, as we speak now, Europe is getting its energy reliance on Russia to a minimum, and lights were on. Economy got some bruises, which will take some time to heal, but Europe now take back its energy destiny in its hands. And this is, I think, an important element, and I am very happy that the IEA played a role here. And as I said, dear colleagues, the big growth in renewables in Europe and in the rest of the world, and in many countries, nuclear power is seeing a comeback, is driven by energy security concerns. Growth of renewables everywhere around the world is not necessarily driven by climate change concerns. It was like that in the past. But now, the cost of renewables came down, and it is a homegrown energy, so therefore it is good for energy security. 10 years ago, renewables were a romantic story, but now it is becoming a major source of new electricity generation. So is nuclear power. After Russia's invasion of Ukraine, people understand the critical importance of generating electricity at home, and therefore many countries revised their nuclear policies in that respect. But dear colleagues, we expect that the energy security issues will be with us for many years to come. In terms of oil security, gas security, electricity security, and you will hear this more and more, the security of critical minerals, such as copper, such as cobalt, such as lithium, and their refining. Because we see also in that domain a growing importance of concentration of production and the manufacturing in very few number of countries. Dear colleagues, given this context, last April, UK government and the International Energy Agency, we have organized a major conference in London, Future of Energy Security, which was opened by Prime Minister Keir Starmer and the President of European Union, Ursula von der Leyen, and many ministers, prime ministers were there. At that meeting, and I want to repeat here, based on the experience I accumulated in the last few years and based on our work, 3 golden rules for energy security. 3 golden rules for energy security. What are those? Number 1, diversification. If you rely on one single country, one single trade route, one single company for the supply of your energy, for your imports, you are making a mistake. You put all eggs in one basket. Europe has experienced this. In my view, this mistake Europe made by over-reliance on one single country and energy is a strategic mistake, and it has impacts for European foreign policy, Europe's competitiveness, and Europe's, of course, energy security. So important thing is to diversify as much as possible your partners, your energy trade partners, and your source of imports. This is number 1, diversification. Number 2 of the 3 golden rules I have is the predictability. Dear colleagues, energy sector is very different than many other parts of the economy. It is the capital-intensive investments are needed, huge investments. And when you build a power plant, for example, the average age is 50 years. When you compare with the IT sector, for example, with the electronics, your average age of your iPhone is maybe 2 years, 3 years, or the cars a few years. But in the energy sector, investments, what investment you make is very important, and it needs a lot of money, capital intensive. So therefore, investors need a predictable macroeconomic situation, investment context, and they are like, investors are like, I don't know if you have many investors here, but they are like butterflies. When they are scared, they fly away. When are they scared? If they are scared that they may not get the returns that they think they should get, they go somewhere else. So therefore, predictability of the policies are important, and unpredictability increase the cost of the investments, and therefore it's a major problem. So this is the second golden rule for me after the diversification. Third and the last golden rule for me is the cooperation among the countries. Dear colleagues, when you look at the countries around the world, it can be a small country or big country, no country is an energy island. We are interconnected through different ways. We are interconnected through, for example, energy prices, oil prices, natural gas prices. They are all affecting the countries. We are interconnected through technological change. If there is a change, a new technology comes in one country, sooner or later, it affects the other countries, such as we saw the internet, we saw the electric cars, we see solar power. It comes, it goes through. There are connections. Or emissions going to atmosphere from Vilnius, or from Detroit, or from Jakarta, or from Lille. It has the same effect on everybody. Emissions don't have a passport. So countries are interconnected, and therefore cooperation among the countries are crucial to find right trade partners, right people you put energy alliances, cooperate, will make the life easier and much more productive for the countries, I believe. So therefore, these three golden rules we have, the diversification is, we believe, important, predictability of the energy markets are important, and the cooperation is important as well. Maybe one last general point before I say a few words on Lithuania. One important trend I want to share with you from our work is the following. If we look at the history, and we do it, the IEA, we look at all the numbers. When you look at the 18th century, when we had the Industrial Revolution was fueled by coal. There was an age of coal. We still have some coal, but coal is going down. This age of coal has been followed by the age of oil and gas. We are in the middle of the age of oil and gas, and oil and gas has been fueling our economies around the world and will be with us for many years to come. But, dear colleagues, I see or I hear the steps of age of electricity is coming. The growth of electricity in the world is several times higher than the growth of total energy. Why electricity is coming? Because when we look at the economies around the world, it is being electrified. We need more electricity from the transportation sector for the artificial intelligence data centers. It's a major driver. For heating, for cooling, electricity is coming. So therefore, how we generate the electricity, how we distribute the electricity will be extremely important in the next years to come, and the age of electricity countries needs to prepare themselves well. So this is something I wanted to say in general terms. Now, coming back to this very country of Lithuania, before saying some nice words, compliments about Lithuania, I want to put in a general context that in the energy world, in general, things move rather slowly. The reason is energy sector, since it is infrastructure bound, to change the direction in the energy sector, like changing the direction of a huge tanker in the sea. It doesn't change like a bicycle. It takes some time to change the direction. So it is much more difficult to make major changes and fast in the energy sector. But this country made huge achievements. I want to highlight, at least from my point of view, 3 major achievements, and I'm again sorry that these achievements were not, in my view, fully appreciated around the world as much as they deserve. Number 1, in the year 2021, the total energy imports of this country from Russia was close to $3 billion. 3 billion, which is about 5% of its economy, GDP. In terms of oil, in terms of gas, in terms of electricity, and a bit of coal. And today, it is 0. It's a huge achievement. In such a short period of time, with the limited means this country has, to bring it from there to here is a big achievement. And I really want to congratulate here the government, experts, the political leaders, because it's before the energy decision, it's a political decision, so congratulations for that. Second, and again an area which is not well understood, is the synchronization of the grid to Europe. It is, in many parts of the world, it is understood like a engineering success. Yes, engineers. I am an engineer myself. Nobody is perfect. But I can tell you that it is politically extremely important. It gives a message, political message, very clear and straightforward. And therefore, all the technicians, all the engineers, thank you to them, but also to government, but also to colleagues in Brussels working on that, supporting this very important step. They deserve all the congratulations there. I told Mr. Minister that I will do my best together with his Baltic colleagues to make sure that the world understands it is political significance, because not only send flowers to these countries, but to learn from this example that it can be done, and it could be a source of inspiration for other regional cooperation in this region on other occasions, but also other parts of the world. Because regional cooperation is a very important tool when it comes to energy security if they are well designed. Third, and the last landmark achievement of this country I want to mention is the one on the renewable energy. Dear colleagues, when I was looking at my notes yesterday, I saw that this country doubled its renewable electricity generation in 2 years of time. It's a huge success. And I called my colleagues at the IEA on Sunday, yesterday. As our moderator says, we have a lot of data. And I have in all of my speeches with my staff, I repeat like a broken record one thing, which is, they are a bit bored of it, but I continue to say, data always wins. Sometimes it may take some time, but data always wins. I asked them, is there any other out of our 32 member countries, is there any other country, how many other countries were able to double its renewable electricity generation in the last 2 years? If you colleagues look at the numbers, and I received the answer yesterday night, Lithuania was the #1 country in all of our countries. So congratulations, Mr. Minister, very well done. Dear colleagues, this is another achievement of this country. Of course, these are very good achievements, but we have to build on those achievements and to go even forward. So it is the reason we made this very report. And what are those areas? My colleagues are going to tell you more in depth, but some of them I wanted to highlight. They are difficult stuff, I know, but we have to tell those because in a few years of time, we will come back and we will say, we have suggested these to you, and what have you done, what have you not done, and we will say again to this audience or different audiences, our recommendations versus what happened in terms of data. One area we very much hope to see is greater efficiency improvement, especially in the buildings. Because the energy security is not only increase the electric energy production, but reduce the consumption in a meaningful way. So therefore, when we compare the efficiency in the buildings in this country with others, I think there is a room for improvement there. Another area is the district heating. There is a need to put more attention on the district heating, and also as the electricity will become more important, renewable generation is growing very strongly, including driven by the prosumer, the concept that Mr. Minister brought up. There is a need for stronger grids and flexibility, including the battery storage. So these are areas we think will be very important. And International Energy Agency, while we make these suggestions, these are tough, not easy things to implement. We will be very happy to support the minister, the different parts of the government, and IEA will be always there. Dear colleagues, I would like to finish by 3 final remarks. One of them is, energy is becoming such a complex issue, from geopolitics to financing, from financing to artificial intelligence, from artificial intelligence to buildings, that it is extremely important that the energy work in a given government, it is not only for this government, but many governments, should be well coordinated between the ministries. The energy minister of a country shouldn't be left alone. He or she should work with the other colleagues, and the energy strategy of a country should be the core of the government strategy. This is number 1. Number 2, I wanted to thank very much this very government, Lithuanian government, for their support for Ukraine. I believe when we talk about energy security, today's the most important energy security issue we face, the life energy security issue, is Ukraine. Ukrainian energy infrastructure is being bombed every day. The grids, the pipelines, and if the grids are hurt, if the grids are broken, it is not only you use the lights, you use the electricity from hospitals, you use the electricity from schools, the water supply. So I am very happy that Lithuania, working with the International Energy Agency, because it's a top issue for me and for my agency as well. Thank you very much for that. This is the second. And third, at the IEA, we talk about energy security today, because it's a key issue, but we are looking at all energy-related issues, such as the climate change, very important topic, such as the water supply in many parts of the world, such as the access to energy in many emerging countries, including Africa. So therefore, I am very happy that the International Energy Agency, with a global view on all energy issues, being the Global Energy Authority, has a wonderful member like Lithuania, which recently joined the IEA in a very short period of time, and I am honored to be here in front of you, and thank you very much for listening me. I will now turn to my colleagues to go into detail some of our key recommendations for the government and the stakeholders here. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Executive Director, Minister, Executive Director, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Maarten Noenings, and I had the honor to lead the first Lithuania Energy Policy review in March of this year. The team was composed of 8 experts with a both wide and deep expertise in the energy sector. The team had a both Baltic and Nordic presence, a strong presence, with experts from the governments of Latvia, Estonia, and Denmark, but also from the Netherlands, the Nuclear Energy Agency, the European Commission, and of course, of the IEA itself. And I want to thank Minister Vilnius and all of his colleagues at the Energy Ministry and of the Energy Agency for all of their support throughout this process, for delivering all the up-to-date data, the most recent data on Lithuania energy policy, but also to make sure that we get a good view, that we can ask the questions throughout this week to fully grasp all the depth of what you are doing. And then on a personal note, I think it was very encouraging to hear the minister say that the first priority is now implementation. And I was happy to already hear that a lot of the recommendations that we made in this policy review are already taken up in policy actions by the Lithuanian government. So as the executive director has already indicated and highlighted, energy independence is the cornerstone of Lithuania's energy strategy. And the country has taken important steps to reduce its dependency on energy imports. Most importantly, Lithuania has successfully managed to cease all imports of Russia since March 2022. And the executive director has already shown the numbers. So 2.8 billion of imports of fossil fuels from Russia has ceased to be imported, and only in 2 years, this has gone to zero. The second point is that through strategic infrastructure investments, Lithuania has become an energy hub for the region, not only by its only refinery in Klaipėda, but also by the LNG terminal there. Furthermore, the importance of the synchronization with the European synchronous area cannot be overstated. I think it has been made clear by the executive director that this is a very big milestone, not only for Lithuania and the neighboring regions, but also for Europe as a whole. While these are important achievements, Lithuania, however, still remains largely reliant on imported fossil fuels, notably for the transport sector. And Lithuania also imports large share of its electricity, though this is declining as domestic renewable energy capacity expands. Then, taking a look at the district heating sector. The district heating accounts for almost half of the household heating supply and the existing infrastructure forms an important element of the complete energy system. Since 2010, district heating supply has gone through rapid change away from imported Russian gas to domestically sourced bioenergy. This fuel switch, supported by the EU, enabled Lithuania to reduce its greenhouse gas emission, to reduce its energy dependence, but also to limit the energy costs both for the energy heating companies as well as the final consumers. But as a result, today, the district heating supply is heavily dependent on access to this bioenergy. And so we are happy to see that there are plans to introduce more residual waste heat and power-to-heat solutions, which will diversify the fuel mix and further improve efficiency of the district heating sector. The government policy should help district heating companies to make the necessary investments in the network to enable the modernization and also to have a more performant operation of the system. The existing financial support schemes for investments in up-to-date district heating technologies should be maintained and even strengthened. Furthermore, the legislation that gives building owners responsibility of the heating substation that connect with the district heating system should be revised. The district heating companies should, according to the review team, be able to acquire these substations to enable a modernization of the system in a cost-effective manner. Lithuania's electricity supply underwent several major transitions. So first of all, since the closure of the Ignalina nuclear reactors in 2005 and 2009, Lithuania was highly dependent on electricity imports. So going from an exporting country towards an importing country in a short period of time. But we've seen that in the last 2-3 years, rapid growth in electricity generation from solar and wind have resulted in greater self-sufficiency, and net imports fell below half of the total energy demand in 2024. Lithuania's long-term energy strategy is based on a transition away from energy imports of oil and gas towards domestically produced renewable electricity. And the electricity system, as a result, is now facing a next big transformation. Driven by the renewable expansion, Lithuania is looking to be a net exporter of electricity by 2030, but based on the recent figures, it can already do so by 2028, which is, of course, a big achievement. In the European Union, I don't think anybody's advancing faster on their targets than planned. By 2050 then, Lithuania aims not only to be fully energy independent, but also to be an exporter of electricity as well as of hydrogen, green hydrogen, and of hydrogen derivatives. But this, of course, still is a huge undertaking. Ladies and gentlemen, the updated National Energy Independence Strategy, which is already the third iteration of this document, outlines the long-term vision for an electricity system and a new industrial development that comes along. In Lithuania's main scenario, electricity demand increases sixfold, which is huge, by 2050. Half of this is for hydrogen production. But hydrogen market development is slower than expected, both in Lithuania, and we know the example of the Achema fertilizer plant, but also in potential export markets which you target. And this, of course, creates uncertainties about the strategy as a whole. Therefore, the review team recommended the National Energy Independence Strategy to be used as a guide for the energy policy, but that it should be implemented in a series of well-defined steps. To reduce risks of costly and inefficient investments, Lithuania should identify and prioritize actions that clearly reduce emissions and replace energy imports, as this is the main focus of the strategy as a whole. In doing so, the government should engage strongly with relevant stakeholders nationally, but in the wider region as well, because the strategy, of course, has the ambition to also guide the whole region and to become an exporter to neighboring countries. Actions should be supported by a comprehensive impact assessment, looking at both the costs and affordability implications for Lithuanian consumers. And finally, industrial development should be supported by means of pilot projects and regulatory sandboxes to test innovative technologies on the markets and de-risk investments. And now I will give the floor to Oskaras for looking into the two focus areas of this review.
Thank you, Martin. Ačiū visiems susirinkusiems, yra didžiulė garbė šiandien čia būti. And now we can move forward and, as Martin mentioned, look into the focus areas of the report. One of the focus area is the power sector. So as Dr. Birol mentioned, renewable electricity generation in Lithuania nearly doubled in 2 years, reaching 6 terawatt hours by 2024. And now Lithuania targets are really ambitious for 2030, which would require tripling total electricity generation by the end of the decade. And so as the electricity generation, domestic generation expands, the grid needs to expand as well. And looking into Litgrid's 10-year development plans, we have seen some changes over the years, especially in their projected demand for investments or investment needs into the transmission grid. And so over the 4 years, this projected demand of investment need doubled. And so for us, this is a strong indication of the ever-growing importance of the grid as Lithuania moves forward with their energy strategy goals. And we have seen some improvement in Lithuanian policy in that regard, especially improved permitting processes, fasten the construction time of the grid, but we still see that the pace of grid construction does not match the pace of expansion of renewable generation. And so we see a need for a forward-looking approach, one that would avoid the grid becoming a bottleneck in Lithuania's energy transition. And one of our recommendations are to improve regulatory framework and enable the anticipatory investments into the grid that would allow expand the grid based on projected demand. Another key aspect of the report is the question of prosumers. And this is an incredible success story in Lithuania when it comes to prosumers. Thanks to generous incentives, net metering model, and other support mechanisms, the number of prosumers is on a rapid rise in recent years. And now country targets to have 300,000 prosumers by the end of the decade, which would mean that by 2030, around 1 in 4 households would be able to produce renewable electricity at their home, and which is a huge ambition. And looking at the historic trends, it is not out of reach. But again, with the growth of renewables, wind and solar, we see that it has already impact on the grid, as you can see from the duck-shaped curve of net load here on the left. And so again, IEA sees a need of flexibility improvements, of flexibility measures to be put in place. Primarily, we talk about battery storage, but also demand-side response. And again, Lithuania already implemented some good steps forward on this, mainly the rollout of smart meters, and also the creation of new energy balancing markets, which is a really positive development. Still, we see more could be done. For example, enabling dynamic network tariffs so that more flexibility measures would be incentivized. And Last but not least, the net metering system must be addressed. It must be adjusted in a way to not only support, continue to support the growth of prosumers, but also incentivize them to participate in the grid stability and the network balancing. And as we now know, the government is working actively to adjust this model and find the best solution possible. Then another focus area of our report was transport. Why transport? Transport in Lithuania consumes 40% of total final consumption of energy, 75% of oil demand, and 1/3 of total greenhouse gas emissions. And we have seen strong growth in Lithuania's transport sector activity. Looking at passenger transportation, now over 90% of all passenger kilometers are generated by private cars, which is one of the highest share in all of European Union. At the same time, Lithuania has one of the oldest car fleets in EU and a relatively high car ownership rate. Looking in freight, the growth is even more staggering, 70% increase in freight activity from 2015. And this is mainly driven by trucks, largely at the expense of more energy efficient rail. So IEA, in this case, we recommend to incentivize a shift in Lithuanian transport sector to a more energy efficient modes. What that would mean is for the rural areas, the beautiful Lithuanian rural areas, it would mean the expansion of public transportation and its service frequency. For the road network, we would need to expand the number of tolled roads, basically, to shift some of the activity from freight trucks to rail. And then for cities, we see a need for more widespread congestion fees and low emission zones, as we've seen in Kaunas. And that would also incentivize both shift to electromobility and to public transportation. Last but not least, Lithuania is one of few countries in EU without an annual ownership taxation for cars. And we think that CO2-based annual taxation for car ownership would both, again, incentivize electromobility and modal shift, but also it should be put in a way to protect the most vulnerable consumers and car owners, making the taxation progressive, and also the funds could be used to fund this energy transition for the most financially vulnerable Lithuanians. And the last slide I have here today is on electric vehicle. Electric vehicle is a beautiful solution, beautiful technology to Lithuanians' issue of oil imports, dependency on oil imports. And we have seen, again, some very positive recent developments, mainly the charging infrastructure rollout. And now the number of EV sales are on the rise in Lithuania. But still, the targets for 2030 are quite ambitious, and with the current pace, they will not be met. So there's more to be done in this regard. Main challenge for Lithuania is the EV tag price. Vast majority of car registrations in Lithuania are coming from a second-hand market. And as of today, there is still no second-hand EV market at scale, not only in Lithuania, in Europe in general. And so you would need to have first movers to initiate this market, the second-hand market. Publicly owned vehicles and corporate car fleets can be pushed and incentivized to be the kickstarter of this market. But again, it's not only that. We see a very strong need in policy support for the general public as well when it comes to acquiring an electric vehicle. So for Lithuania, that means that electrification of transport sector needs to be affordable. And for it to be affordable, we need to have a combination of three different aspects. And one would be targeted incentives, another would be charging infrastructure development, public one, and then the third one would be regulatory support. And so as I finish the presentation, I'll just leave this last slide for a few more seconds on the screen with 10 recommendations from our report, and I will pass the floor back to Ponas Romas Švedas, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you so much for this presentation. Indeed, it is an informative, it is an inspiring, and now we have a very nice 25 minutes for a discussion. And may I invite for the discussion here to the panel, to join the panel, Dr. Fatih Birol, please, may I invite you to sit in the middle of the panel. Then Minister Žygimantas Vaičiūnas, Minister, please. And then Agne Bagočiūtė, Director of Lithuanian Energy Agency, Martynas Nagevičius, President of Lithuanian Confederation of Renewable Resources, and Mindaugas Keizeris, CEO EPSO-G, a holding company. Can you leave? A holding company of electricity, gas, and TSO companies. I will sit here, I will take this microphone, and since this is about energy, so let's have a dynamic discussion on the report what was presented. And my first question is to Minister. Minister, we had a report presented, we had recommendations presented for Lithuania, which were developed based on the analysis. This is a valuable know-how for Lithuania. So how we are going to use this know-how? Which recommendations you consider the most important for Lithuania, and how we are going to address them? Minister, please.
Thank you. Very good question. And first of all, of course, we have discussed that Fatih Birol, this is the first visit in Lithuania, so thanks for that. But I wanted to thank for all the team and for the team leader.
Microphone, please. Yeah. Please close the microphone.
Okay, it works. Okay. Energy is important, even for the microphones. So just a warm extend gratitude for Martin and, as a team leader. It's really, I would like to point one very important element. I know we are in a time rush, but it's really important to stick to the facts that these data are really fresh. This is really the important element, that it's the data of the end of 2024. This is the exceptional. These organizations, all the international organizations, are lagging on the time, and the International Energy Agency have really fresh data. So this is very fresh things. The second point, yes, I have to be really time efficient and energy efficient. As I have said, I will implement these recommendations, so I will start by me very simply and very shortly. 4 points which are really important. This is, and from the recommendation perspective, the one is the most important factor is the flexibility of the system. And this is about the storage capacities, about the demand side response. This is one of the key most important elements. And also the second point, this is about the including flexibility, but also the predictability of our energy system. So I would like to point there are 4 elements the most important, as I have said, the resilience of our system. This is the electrification, as Fatih has already mentioned it, including the district heating system. The third element is the predictability and, of course, the flexibility. So we are taking these recommendations very seriously, and I think including, of course, the system for the prosumers is very important, but we have to ensure the predictability for them as well.
Okay, thank you very much. So, second question would be to Dr. Fatih Birol on the global energy outlooks. Global energy outlooks developed by International Energy Agency. These are to my mind, the most important outlooks about the past and about the future of global energy. I will advertise now, and these outlooks are very highly anticipated every year all over the world, and at least me with my students, we wait for them and we analyze them, and we analyze your presentations, we analyze the outlooks. So may I ask you just to once again to point 2-3 most important messages from the last or all of the global energy outlooks, what you would mention here, and in this context to join it with Lithuania. So what would be 2-3 messages to Lithuania in the context of global energy outlook or global energy development? Because this audience needs this message from you to hear and to think about. Please.
So thanks. First of all, I am really curious from your introduction in the beginning and now what you just said, that you analyze our work. I'd be very happy to be your student, to listen to you in one of your classes. Please let me know. I want to learn and hear from you. Thank you very much for doing that. So as I said, we look at in the World Energy Outlook. This is, they call it the Bible of Energy, the most read energy book in the world. Every year we publish. And Oskaras is one of the members of that very team. He's also a member of the champion IEA football team, by the way. So he's a good striker, if you didn't know. So in this report, the findings are for the world, but as I said, no country is an energy island. Everybody is affected from that. One thing I can tell you that we said, in fact, 2 years ago, last year, and this year, we are going to say about oil markets. Oil markets and the oil prices are important for everybody, every economy, especially a country like Lithuania that imports a lot of oil, as we have seen in the pictures. Dear colleagues, we are going through, and we'll be going through in the next year or so at least, a very comfortable oil market. And it has implications. Why comfortable? First of all, global oil demand growth is slowing down, not as strong as in the past. There are 2 reasons for that. One, in the past, in the last 10 years, for example, the global oil demand growth, more than 60% growth came from one country, which is China. And Chinese economy in the last 10 years was growing more than 6% per year. And Chinese economy is slowing down now, which means slower economy will need less energy. This is number one. Number 2 reason why oil demand growth is slowing down is electric cars. 4 years ago, 3% of all the cars sold in the world was electric. And this year, 25% of all the cars sold in the world are electric. So every 4th car sold is electric, and electric cars are becoming cheaper. There is no way that they will not go even stronger. Expansion will go stronger. And this is also slowing the oil demand growth. Plus, a lot of production is coming from US, Canada, Brazil, Guyana, which means more production and less demand growth means comfortable markets. We said it since 2 years, and also this year's World Energy Outlook. And today, it has been proven very strongly that in Middle East, there are bombs everywhere. US, Israel, Iran, and oil prices are still $65. And think about this, a few years ago, if there was such major, not tension, real war happening, conflict happening on the ground, and the oil prices are still $65. It's impossible. So we are entering in oil markets, a comfortable market context, and the same happens in the gas markets as well. A lot of LNG, liquefied natural gas, is going to come to markets. So therefore, next 2-3 years, if there are no major, huge geopolitical surprises, we will see oil and gas prices rather on the moderate side, and it will be, I guess, a good news for the oil and gas importing countries for some years to get their energy strategies on their foot and go forward, but knowing that as countries like Lithuania, that the future is electric. So this is, I wanted to stop here, and I want to hear, in fact, the colleagues from Lithuania, what they think about these issues.
Okay, thank you very much. So next question is to Martinas, and the question is about butterflies. You know, I've learned, it's a very, very nice, I've learned from Dr. Birol this very nice comparison about butterflies, and this is about investment, and this is about investors into clean energy. Martina, please, what would be kind of your insights on the challenges what butterflies face in Lithuania today, and how to make it more predictable? Indeed, it's a good opportunity now to say for the politicians, for the industry, and to discuss these topics. Martina, how to ensure the flow of investments into clean energy?
Yes, thank you, Romas. I'm representing those butterflies now, private investors first of all, and if we look at recent history, so we really had a huge jump in investment into the power production and renewable energy in Lithuania, and the latest data, maybe even later than the International Energy Agency could provide, so it's that we increased electricity produced, share of electricity produced in renewable from 14% in 2021 to 46 in the last year, and we expect somewhere between 50 and 60% this year. So just because the field for those butterflies was very good 3 years ago, the energy war started in 2021, not 2022. I could say the prices started to increase, and technology was getting cheaper and cheaper, and just invest into the renewable energy was feasible. And we didn't need any state support for that. We just, because those butterflies, what they actually asked for government at that time, just not to spoil and don't do anything. Just we don't change any rules. We will do everything by ourselves, and they did. And because if it's feasible to invest, business invests. Now the situation, and we actually we made a jump which took 4 years, and we made a jump which the same as for Germany took 20 years. So it's such a difference. Now the situation is a little bit different because conditions are getting worse for investment into renewable energy, because as a result of those investments, we have problem of such a called problem of cannibalization of prices. That means that prices of electricity in Lithuania, because of a huge amount of solar and wind power plants, is getting lower and lower. And now we have a situation when this capture price for power, for wind and for solar is lower than LCOE, I mean cost for power production. And now we want to, so business want again a support from government. Of course, the situation could be changed after a lot of investment goes to flexibility of the network, to new batteries, new connections to Poland and Germany, power connections, new demand response solutions, smart EV charging solutions. But the problem is that all those investments, they're lagging behind. And therefore, investment into wind and solar getting less predictable, it's difficult to predict what will be. So the risk that all those investment into this flexibility of power increase this risk is getting higher and is not managed by a private investor into solar and wind. Therefore, we need somehow to... Now we have a situation where only about 15 to 20% of all projects which has already permits in Lithuania, which has paid for power grid guarantees, we have final investment decision. 15 to 20% only. That means 80% of investors, we're just waiting and looking what will happen now. So my message is that without state intervention at the moment, we will not achieve our strategical goal to be a net power exporter in 2028 or even maybe in 2030. We need some cooperation, some tools which would somehow to mitigate investor risk into the power generation, and we need to create a system, smart system, which would actually, in the final end, will achieve results that the power prices for the final consumer will be lower, but not higher, because of all those risk management systems. So what I see during the next year, close collaboration work with ministry, finding some solution how to continue development of renewable energy in Lithuania, avoiding this stop of all investments in 1 or 2 years. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. You see, we had a boom of wave of investments, the price went down. And again, low price is good for consumers, but the challenge for investors. And the balance here is needed. And dialogue is important with the government, and here insights or practice, international practice or insights from International Energy Agency and other countries of this family would be very important. How we have a situation, how to resolve it. So let's put it on the table and let's discuss. Okay. Next question about grid. We question about grid for Mindaugas. What are perspectives? What are challenges thinking about, okay, internal grid of Lithuania, one, but what about regional grid? And first of all, I mean the grid or interconnection of Baltic countries with Germany, this power interconnection, vision or plan, and the new Nordic-Baltic hydrogen corridor. What are the perspectives of these two projects in particular? Mindaugai, please.
Thank you, Romas. It's a pleasure to be here on the stage. I'll try to be short, but I'll start with one aspect which was touched several times today. In the presentation for 2024, it was said that Lithuania imports less than 50% of electricity. I looked to data, yesterday's data, and we are importing year to date in 2025, 21% of electricity. We are going really towards electricity self-sustainability. But at the same time, that creates challenges for producers, for renewable producers. If we would look to the perspective, Baltic countries, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, if we speak about the potential for renewables, it's 80 gigawatts of installed capacities. It means 250, 300 terawatt hours of potential green electrons or green molecules. And that's times above of potential our consumption, even including hydrogen. And I'm coming closer to these two infrastructure projects, regional projects. Hydrogen corridor from Finland to Germany, to Poland, Germany, which interconnects production of hydrogen and demand of hydrogen. That unlocked the opportunity for renewable developments just to invest. Another project which interconnects Lithuania, Latvia with the Germany, power interconnection, 2 gigawatts of cable. That also is a very good signal for developers that our markets will be interconnected. even keeping in mind additionally that the Harmony Link interconnection with Poland will also be implemented. So these investments, of course, there are not sprint investments, there are long-lasting investments. Hard infrastructure, all the countries are cooperating, but we must remain, keep moving, step by step, investing, and I think one of the most challenging aspects is just to remain hunger to make things done, how it was done with the synchronization and other transformative changes in Lithuania and in the Baltics.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you so much. And next question to Agne. 3 out of 10 recommendations provided by in the policy review by the International Energy Agency, guess what, is about decarbonization of transport. So what about transport? Agne, please, where we are, what are the dynamics, what are the challenges of Lithuania here, how we are going to address what political decisions Lithuania needs to take, because we have in the audience also politicians, businessmen. What should we do with decarbonizing transport, which is the challenge, by the way, for many countries, not only Lithuania. Agne, please.
Hello. Please just talk. It's okay. Hello, everybody. Energy policy would not be completed without addressing transport sector. The single largest energy consumer in Lithuania, and as already Oskaras said, transport consume about 40% of final energy, and in 2024, about 90% of it was fossil fuels, mainly diesel and gasoline, with renewable energy sources like biofuels and alternative fuels and electricity from RS making up only 7%. And no surprise that transport has most ambitious target of all. It's 29% of RES in 2030. And but as you already heard, despite the various measures and considerable efforts to decarbonize and electrify transport, progress in Lithuania is still very slow. And of course, we don't have one right recipe how to solve this problem, but now focus, of course, is on electrification, how and another EU countries, also public transport model shift and regulatory and fiscal measures like taxes for CO2. And between 2020 and June this year's number of electrical vehicles in Lithuania grow up more than 8 times, and comparing with EU average is more than twice less, but it is twice more than in Poland or in Italy. Yeah, and yes, and of course, if we talk about light vehicles and day-to-day trip, of course, we should more attention pay to public transport. And according to my personal opinion, today is not the right time to increase public transport prices like do in the in Vilnius also.
Like
yes.
we do in
Yeah,
Vilnius.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
I go by public transport. Oh.
Yeah, and to sum up, of course, state support is crucial to achieve our target, but not only state support. Of course, local authorities should play a bigger role for this. And as already said Dr. Birol, cooperation between energy ministry, transport ministry, and of course between environment ministry is essential now.
And municipalities, yes. Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So our time is running so fast, you know, like energy. So at this point, I should say, I would like to complete our discussion, to finish our discussion. And I would invite you to stay a little bit here, and I would move to the invent in case this microphone works. Yes, good. Okay, colleagues. So time is running very fast, and here it comes, the end of our event, a special event. And as a concluding remark, what can I say? That I can say that first of all, Lithuania is so happy and honored to be member of a family of International Energy Agency. Indeed, we thank very much for coming here to Lithuania and presenting the report. What we learn and the messages, what are energy security is national security. And it's a message for all the governments, for Lithuanian government. We have ambassadors here of other countries, so please send reports to your capitals that this is the situation, and free golden rules presented by Dr. Fatih Birol. Lithuania's results are quite good. We have ambitious targets, and we have a very targeted, systemic, and persistent government in reaching these results, and we hope that the dialogue with the butterflies will be developed, and these butterflies will stay and will not fly away. And my last conclusion would be what is important and what's mentioned, that energy dependence from Russia as an aggressor, at least in case of Lithuania, it is done. It is achieved. It is completed. And Lithuania, by the way, Mr. Birol, is a very good case study for international environment, how this small country can stand energy war of a big aggressor. So in case some countries would like to study, please invite us. We will come to Paris, present Lithuanian case study. So thank you very much for Dr. Fatih Birol and his team. Thank you very much for Žygimantas Vaičiūnas and his team. Thank you for coming here to our event. And now at the very last moment, now we will go to do a family photo. Family photo will take place on the royal stairs of this very nice building. So you will be guided. Please go, and we will stand, and then Dr. Fatih Birol and Minister will join. Thank you very much once again.